Hey everybody, and welcome to my first level creation guide for Half-Life. In this video series, I will be teaching you how to use the level editor Jack to create your own Half-Life levels. This guide is for beginner level designers, and does not require any math degree or computer science major in order to learn and begin creating levels. Before we begin, you must have Half-Life installed and have played at least once, and the level editor Jack, link in the description. Let's begin. When you first open Jack, there is an option that you should enable from the start. Please go to Tools, Options, 2D Views, and check Draw Sizing Info. Now that we are all ready, hit File and choose New. A window will immediately pop up asking us if we would like Jack to automatically build us a room. While this is really awesome for first levels, for teaching purposes we will be hitting Cancel this time and given a blank level to start building on. This is the level editor Jack. If you've never used a program like this before, it might be intimidating, but don't worry, this isn't as scary as it might seem, and I will walk you through what all of this means. Let's first ignore everything but the middle of the screen. As you can see, there are 4 windows here, 3 of which show a grid inside. The grid is the foundation of our level. This is what we will build our entire level on. These 4 windows show us different orientations of the grid. The top right shows us the bird's eye view of the grid. It's like if we were on an airplane, viewing our level from above. The bottom right shows us the side of the grid. It allows us to see everything from the side viewpoint of our grid. The bottom left is like the previous window, but this one shows us the front of our grid. The top left window is completely different from the others. This window is a 3D view of our level. It shows us an in-game-esque view of our level before we even launch and test the game. This window is currently blank because we haven't built anything yet. Let's learn about the tools we will be using to build our level with. On the left side of Jack, there are a column of buttons. Each of these buttons are tools and all have unique purposes. The 2 fundamental tools we'll be focusing on is the block tool and selection tool. The block tool is what all level designers use to begin crafting their level. This tool allows us to create blocks in our level. Let's try it out. If you click on the block tool and drag click onto the top grid, you will see an outline of a block. This outline allows us to see the size and dimension of the block we're about to create. You can also see that the outline block shows us tiny white squares on each of the sides and corners. These allow us to adjust the size of the block. If you hold the white squares, it can be pulled in their respective direction. To create that block, aim the mouse in the top grid and hit enter. As you can see, the block is no longer an outline and exists in all 4 windows, including the 3D view window. To view the block in the 3D view window, press the Z key and use WASD to move around like if you were playing in Half-Life in no-clip mode. A flat, pink lambda block. To exit 3D mode, press the Z key again. The importance of this block is that it can be shaped, specifically into walls, floors, pipes, ceilings, and a whole lot of other things as well. Once our block is created, you may notice that we can no longer adjust or move our block. But don't fret, the selection tool has us covered. The selection tool allows us to select and adjust anything present in our level. We can use it to move our block in the top, side, and front views of our grid, and position it in any way we want. To select a block, use the selection tool and click onto the small X within the block. An important feature of the selection tool offers us the ability to rotate and morph the block in different ways. To do this, use the selection tool and click within the block. You can see that the white squares have changed, and now are only present in the corners of the block. Hovering your mouse over the white squares will now show a rotation icon, indicating that we have to hold, click, drag the white squares to rotate. I recommend enabling the fixed 15-degree rotation option to lock the rotation to 15 degrees for better control. Go to Options, 2D View, and change the fixed rotation degree to 15 to enable the 15-degree lock. Side tip: to undo any rotation or any other action, hit Ctrl Z, or if you would like to redo, hit Ctrl Y. You can also click onto the block again for more additional ways to adjust the block or to rotate through the options to get back to the original option. With this newly acquired knowledge, we can put it to practice and create some amazing levels. But before we go crazy in the editor and put Howard Roark to shame, let's create a simple room. A room needs 4 walls, a floor, and a ceiling. Let's use the selection tool and resize our first block in the top grid to resemble a floor. Resize it to 256 units by 256 unit dimension. When trying to adjust sizes, you might run into the problem of the grid not allowing you to create anything smaller. Use the bracket keys to increase and decrease the grid measuring size. You can also zoom in and out using the mouse scroll. Now we need walls. Click the block tool and drag click into the top grid to outline a new block. You can either create the block or continue to adjust the block before you create it. It's all up to personal preference. To me, I like to create them before I make any more adjustments. Note, you can either put the wall on top of the floor or right next to the floor. Either method is fine. The front and side grid views allows us to adjust the height and thickness of the block. Adjust the height of this block to 128 units tall and 16 units thick. This is what our wall should be. 256 units long in the top grid, 128 units tall in the front or side grid, and 16 units thick in the front or side grid. As you can see, we have our first wall, and I know that might seem like a bit of work just to create a wall, but thankfully Jack allows us to copy our blocks. To do this, use the selection tool and select the block we wish to duplicate and hold left control key while hold dragging the selected block away from the original. Release to let it go. To finish the other two walls, we need to duplicate a block and use the selection tool to rotate that block to complete the walls. Use the selection tool and hold the left control key while hold dragging the selected block away from the original. Click on the inside of the selected block and click on the white squares in the corner to rotate the wall. Continue to use the selection tool and move this block to the correct position. Duplicate this block and put it into the correct position. Now that we have finished the walls, all we have left to do is the ceiling. We can use the same method of duplicating like we did with the walls to the ceiling. This time, let's use the front and side grid views to duplicate the floor and position it above the walls. Fantastic job! You just created your first room in Jack. Stay tuned for the next episode where we'll learn about the Texture and Entity tool and also how to playtest our level in game.